Bit of a different video today. We're testing lenses, testing for purchase. Not our usual fare, slightly different setup to what we'd normally be doing here, but I've got a lens and I want to see whether I'm going to buy it or not. So this can apply to everybody, but this is the method I do to work out, am I buying the lens? First of all, we need to know why we're buying the lens. And the reason is, we've been on a really busy shooting stint recently, and I've been shooting with my Mamiya Secor 90mm lens. This is my go-to lens. Most of my portfolio is shot on it. It's brilliant. It's cheap. It's like £200. However, a couple of the shoots we did were quite macro, and they had a lot of silver things in them, and we were struggling with the lens. We were getting hazing, we were getting softness, as extreme movements on the camera, and a few various issues. So I reached out to the guys at Teamwork because they stock Cambo stuff, and I was like, can I get a 90mm lens? They said, no, you can't. It takes a few days to get them in from the Netherlands. But then they said, but we have one on rental. So they've sent me this to test, and basically if I buy it, it's free. Not the buying it, the rental bit. If not, if I don't buy it, I pay the rental fee and send it back. It's not a stupidly expensive lens. It's £1 or two, somewhere around. It's under £2 grand. That's the main thing. It's a 90mm f/22 to f/4, and it's designed for this system. It should be perfect. So what I've got here, based on what my issues are, I've got a bulldog clip, I've got a metal vice grip, and I've got a colorite checker. I'm not bothered so much about sharpness in some way. It's not pure sharpness we're testing here. We want to see how is it managing the highlights. Now, alongside testing this, as I said, we've just been on a really busy shooting spree. We also have a new computer we're testing, and we also have new tether cables. I'm pretty sure I've broken 2 of my Area 51 cables and only 1 is now working. So we've also got some Cobra cables we're testing. This is a M Max Pro with 64 gig of RAM. I don't know how, it was max spec for whatever it was. It was the most I could get, but we're having problems as well tethering and the speed it takes for the files to come through. I mean, this is 100 megapixels, 16-bit. It's not going to be quick, ka-chunk. And I want to see whether a faster computer fixed that or not. So if I just put my hand in front for a frame, we'll see if it actually comes through any quicker. We're not getting a loading bar, which is a good sign. Oh, there goes the loading bar, and there it goes. Okay, so it's marginally quicker. I think, though, for some reason, and I don't know why, but if I go into drive mode, these come through much faster than single shot mode for some reason. Let's put it into low drive. See, this makes no sense. Shooting it in low drive mode, even though the files are the same size, brings it through quicker than in... Anyway, these are the weird things you learn about a camera over the years of working with them. This is one of the reasons I don't upgrade regularly, because all these little quirks, they matter. But anyway, back to the lens. That's nice. So we've got a test shot over here. It's nothing exciting. The issues that we were having is the blooming of the specular reflections and the detail captured in the actual highlights. So something you're probably not aware of, because I certainly wasn't, is that there's more to dynamic range than a camera sensor. It's also the lens. So I've got a Zeiss macro planar. The coating on the version I have almost gains you a stop of dynamic range because it controls the highlights better. This is a digital lens. Now I'm about to do something you should never do, which is take the lens off the camera whilst the camera's still turned on, but such is life. And this is a film lens going back onto it. Hey, Ted. There we go. Let's reconnect the bellows. There we go. F16. Tighten it down. So we're shooting these at f/16 simply because that's pretty much where I shoot everything. And I know someone will be like, oh, you should test it at every aperture. We're testing for what we do. We're not testing for every eventuality. We're also not really testing for everything that I'm going to do. We're just testing for where the problem is. Let's grab a frame of that. Focus in about the same place. And you can see already the haze. Before, after. See that haze? Before, after. Now this haze is not an issue, and this looks like a terrible lens suddenly. My entire website, my whole portfolio is shot with this lens. It doesn't look bad, it doesn't. It's missing some contrast. We'll come into here, we'll punch a bit in. It's not a bad lens. The blooming here is not too bad. You can see how it goes a little bit blurry in the blooming. The metal is controlled better. This is more contrasty. This test alone, what's the white balance like? Let's have a quick look at that. Let's do correct white balance here as well. So that's before and after. There's a reasonable shift in white balance. It's slightly cooler, but this one here is just much better. It's a much better lens. Better doesn't mean buy though. Are we going to buy this lens? Does it fix the problem? Well, it absolutely does. It really does fix the issue. It fixes the sharpness issue, and this issue gets worse and worse the closer in we get to the scene. And again, looking at this here, you'd assume that previous lens was awful. This is a Mamiya Sequel lens. This is a brilliant lens. This is a great bit of kit. It doesn't look as good as the Cambo lens by a long shot, but it is absolutely good enough. And we know that because I've been shooting global campaigns for the last, how long have I had that for? 6 years? Using this lens. And it's only recently I've come across limitations. Now, of course, I could buy a better lens than this Cambo one. There are better lenses out there, but this fixes the problem in an affordable way. I can't remember whether it's 1,180 or 1,800 or something like that. It's a pretty affordable lens. It's not a major business decision here. I always find it interesting how you change lenses and you have to refocus even though they're the same focal length. But there we go. It's a cheap purchase. It's less than the laptop I've bought to solve another problem. And this is what we don't shoot test charts because they're pointless. I don't care about a test chart. I care, does it lose some of the hazing? Does it control the highlights better? Do we get a nicer image? There's no test chart to tell me that. This is just, let's see if we can make it do what we want it to do. Can we get the image we want from it? Does it fix the problems in my workflow and allow me to get what I need? It looks cool as well, which is always great. It's on a lens board. It's a nice look. It looks more pro. Doesn't have a lens hood. There's no lens hood for these. So we do a lot of stuff where we're lighting from the back. So we're going to have to always make sure we've got a flag that we can bring in here to help with any haze. The Mamiya lens had a massive lens hood that came with it on a Constantina bellows. That was kind of cool. It looked cool. And I know it shouldn't matter if it looks cool or not, but it does. We've also got a pretty big movement on this lens at the moment. It's tilted all the way down, which is going to decrease the image quality as the image circle's changed. We're at here, what, 15 degrees tilt? We've got a bit of shift at the back, bit of rise and fall. The image circle goes all the way to the edge of the camera's movement. So this is all the way up. It's all the way down. There's plenty of image circle on there for all the technical movements. If we just do a real quick, let's do some serious perspective shifting here and then correct up here. So just doing a few little movements here just to really make it work for its money. I mean, this is a movement we'd never do really on a shoot, I don't think. I can't think of a time we'd need this. I think we're just starting at the maximum movement this camera can manage. We're just starting to get a bit down at the very bottom. Yeah, see just here? We're just starting to get that, but that is at the apps. That's everything turned up to 100 on a technical camera. That's every movement going. I've never used it like that before. But it does enough. We can always crop that out. We've got 100 megapixels. So the learnings from this test, and this is all the testing I'm doing, there's no additional testing here, is that this lens does fix my problem. You cannot test a lens if you don't know why you're buying it. You can't just buy a lens going, oh, we're going to try a new lens, see if it's better than the other one. That's a pointless exercise. This lens here, the Mamiya Sequel 90, is good enough to shoot any global campaign on up to a 100 megapixel camera today. My website and the work I do and the fact that we've been shooting non-stop with it is proof of that. But we had an issue. The client didn't flag it. Now, this is an important note here. The client didn't flag the issue. They said it looks brilliant. I noticed the issue. If this was a £20,000 lens, I would not be fixing the issue. It's a couple of grand, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing. Well, I say a couple of grand is a lot of money, obviously, but it's not going to break the bank. It's not an expense or a purchase that I'm going to, I don't know. It's not a big deal in this thing here. If it cost 10 grand, I'd want a client to question it. And I want a client to say, what's going on with that? Why is it not quite right? Why is it a bit hazy? Why is it a bit this? But it's none of those things. We just shot a miniature, a village kind of campaign shoot inside a body part. And we did it with this lens here. And yeah, it's great. It looked great. It was fine. Prior to that, we shot Jacob's Crackers campaign, Cathedral City campaign, another Johnson & Johnson's campaign. There's a few others in there as well, I can't remember. We shot loads recently. All with this lens here, it did fine. I wouldn't recommend just upgrading a lens to get a better lens because there's always a better lens. And the problem is they're always more expensive. Neither of these lenses are better or worse. This one here fixes a problem that this one didn't have. Am I going to keep this 90? It's a £200 lens, probably. It's not really worth selling. It's worth having a backup of my most used focal length. I've also got two cambos. It might be the case that this one lives on my other cambo. We have a travel cambo and a studio cambo, something along those lines. You know, it's fine. It's a good lens. But I just want to make it very clear that testing lenses is not DxO scores, test charts, and all the rest of it. It's, do we fix the issue? Much like with this laptop here, did we fix the issue or did we just waste thousands of pounds buying a better laptop? Are we getting quicker tether results? Nah, I don't think the bottleneck is actually the RAM on the computer or anything like that. It's slightly quicker coming through than my previous one. I did an edit on this last night though, and I had 10 Photoshop files opened at once, didn't start using swap memory, it didn't start crashing, I didn't have to restart the computer, which is really useful. We've had a few times on set recently where we've had to restart the machine because the cache is filled up. I can also make proxy files on this machine here when we're shooting video at the same time. So this definitely serves a purpose, as with all purchases. I could have bought a better, this is an old Mac. This is an M1 Max, 64 gig of RAM, 1 terabyte internal hard drive, and then max cores or whatever you could get. This is a refurbished Mac, and it cost, you know, about the same as a lens, I think. I could go and buy the latest one. But does it make me more money? Does it fix any problems? If I bought this and it didn't fix these problems, and we've done some render testing on it earlier today, then I'd return it and I would buy the more expensive one. But I want to fix the problem, spending the least amount of money possible so that my profit margins are as high as possible. Spending an extra 9 grand on a lens for this cambo isn't going to make me much more money when actually the issue here is me personally. The laptop's slightly different. There are times on set where we do need a faster computer. We do need a better tether trolley as well. This is something which is going to be sorted out soon. We just don't have time. And we're going straight into a campaign tomorrow. And I'm going to do a whole week in the live video as well, just for those who want to see that sort of thing. But if you like this content today, this is the sort of content that we put on Studio Access each week. This is more what we do there. This is not my usual YouTube fare, but I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. Anyway, I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.